Warning, this content contains foul language, violence, and gore. Enjoy the story. Hi guys, this is Ravenclaw What If. Welcome back to another What If story. Last time on What If Deku has a sword quirk. Sorry, my eyes were hurting. Alright, we're good now. As the last episode where we left off is where he's land into Japan. Started going to school, officially met the students of three of the students that's going to be in class 1A. Shoto Todoroki, Momo Yadarozu, and Scarlet, the daughter of All Might. As one day he came across Shoto being, ganged up by a bunch of guys. So Izuki decided to step in. As he did, came across a scene where he had to fight the sludge villain and saved a very angry blonde girl. And that's pretty much where we were left off. Yeah, we're all caught up now. So, as you have Izuku on the beach, as he has several sword dummies set up all around him, as he has about 6 or 8 months. Let's just say 6 months. That's for my sake, because I don't know if it's like 8 months or I believe it's six. So for 6 months, Izuku, is getting ready for the entrance exam as he's really officially been accepted in class 1A. But he was told he must show a demonstration of his power, of his quirk, because Nezu wants to see a alpha quirk in action. He's heard a lot about him. Alpha alpha quirks are most likely implemented into the government or their heroes. Of course, America has their own villains. As the villains in America, they have alpha quirks. So, it's not, completely, peaceful over in America. There's a lot of fights between, hero versus villain, just like in Japan. Give me a second here, guys. I need to stop this from showing up. Ezekiel already has the Void Stalker already constructed in his hands. As everyone's, watching this, just, people walking by, as immediately they saw Izuki there, like his swing movement, but then they couldn't keep up with it. As the four dummies, I said there was four. Let's say I'll just say there's four of them surrounding him. As all of them all their heads get chopped off as they fall onto the sand. As Izuku pulls each one of them out, puts them in a pile as he sets up a new set. He bought many spares for his training. No one knows it's a quirk that's Izuku's wielding, so a lot of the heroes are not really paying too much attention. He's not bugging anyone. No one's getting hurt. So they, pretty much left alone. The the heroes are thinking that he's probably from some sort of dojo around here. Maybe he's just practicing, his kendo skills. So that's what they're thinking. We're going to basically we're going to time skip to, the last day of training, as during this time he has been training with his mother and Shoto, off and on. During this time with his copy ability, he came across a few quirks he saw a couple people use out in public that will work well for this exam if he needs to. A short note, and I'm also giving him this because I want to. He has the ability to combine two powers that he's copied. He's able to combine them into like something else entirely. Like, let's say this. Let's say Izuku had a telekinesis quirk copied, and he copies Otoraka and makes it into more like a gravity quirk. To be compatible with each other, the two quirks he combines, they have to be compatible together because yeah, he can't randomize quirks whatever he wants. It has to fit a certain diagram. The combined quirk needs to be compatible with his quirk weapon. But he could do a lot with all sorts of powers. Depending on the power is what colors the blade start to turn into as yeah, if the blade displays the power that he's using in the blade for. It doesn't like morph into anything else. It's just the color change. But there are always going to be some purple on the blade. But it differs between quirks. Izuki was told to go to the entrance exams a lot earlier than the rest of the students. As his driver drops him off as he gets out of the vehicle, very, as he sees a little mouse, as it's Nezu, as Nezu introduced himself. Ah, so you must be Izuku Midoriya. I'm Nezu. It's very nice to it's very nice to meet you, young man. As as Izuku bows, as very nice to meet you, Principal Nezu. Please come, follow me. I'll show you around the entry exam. What's going to go happen? As he goes by off the written portion of the test, as he tells them about the physical tests for the weights and all that stuff they did before the robot test, the combat portion of the event. As he told him that after the entry exams or after they take their test, Izuku's going to be take a separate test uh, for a demonstration of his alpha quirk. Understood, Principal Nezu. I have no problem with it. Very good, my boy. Izuku would not say understood, as Izuku would just say, I understand. As he would accept the terms of he has to go display his own abilities. As Nezu gets Izuku's attention, as he's showing him that students are piling up into the entrance exams. As everyone's piling up, sitting down where they need to go. Each school is sitting next to each other. Whoever applied to UA. When when the battle portion begins, they will be separated from different battle zones to make sure there's no they're not placed in the same battlefield. As Izuku sees Scarlet in the same battlefield with Odoraka and Ida. Ida didn't have no stick up his butt outside of the question about the 0-pointer. As Scarlet did introduce herself to Araka, as they got along quite fine. As Scarlet, encouraged her to just try her best. She was a bit nervous and she wasn't sure if she was ready, but ultimately, Scarlet put a step on her, put a jump in her step. She basically got confidence a little bit to do the test. Being nervous and all. As Izuku would notice, the test has finally begins for the battle portion as he sees Odoraka and Scarlet straight up the front gate. As Izuku watches Scarlet, massacre these robots just pure on physical strength, because her power is insane. She's also pretty fast too. Not as fast as Izuku, but Yeah, she's pretty fast. She's helping Araka out with they agreed to team up during the test. That's because they would think they would work well with each other. Araka would float and Scarlet would smash. So they do pretty much about that until she got tossed on the rubble as Scarlet was nearby. So she pulled the rubble off, then evacuated. Or Uraraka was hurt, so she believed that she had enough points, so she didn't interact with the 0 pointer, even though she probably could destroy it. As Nezu goes over the intercom, thank everyone for attempting the entrance exams. As Nezu informed them that there's going to be something special. As Nezu announced that they have their very first Alpha Quirk Wilder will be attending UA this upcoming year in Class 1A, Izuku Midoriya. Nezu explains what's going to happen as Izuku's going to take the same test that they just took with the robot portions, but alone. As everyone's thinking that this Izuku thinks he's cocky. As Scarlet is kind of worried. They do have jumbotrons in this room. As the picture shows up onto the battlefield, where the battle zone, where Izuku Midoriya is going to make his interests. As Izuku flash steps as he's in the middle of the grounds of the battle zone, as everyone sees Midoriya on the monitor, as all they could hear Izuku say, "Come forth, Void Stalker." As immediately a purple energy appears in front of Izuku. As immediately the blade gets summoned, as Izuku grabs onto the blade, grabs onto the sheath. As immediately there's about 3 or 4 2 pointers as they all rush at Izuku. As Izuku simply what everyone see as Izuku swiped his blade once that apparently didn't hit anything, as immediately the robots fall into little pieces as Izuku just calmly walks past them. Immediately Izuku is using his long range attacks as he's immediately as immediately he's using sword beam slashes as they're flying across the sky, the air, as it hits several of the 3 pointers, the 2 pointers, and 1 pointers, as Izuku's immediately some purplish aura around him as he's moving a lot fast. He's moving faster and faster as robots being over destroyed in quick succession as Nezu's losing a lot of robots as Nezu's quite impressed so far as immediately he believes it's time to bring in the 0 pointers. As Nezu pressed the big red button, as immediately he activated 3 0 pointers. As Izuku could feel the vibration from the moving. As Izuku puts his blade in his sheath. As he continues to walk slowly up to, a good distance closer to the 0 pointers. Izuku pulls his sword halfway out of the sheath as he have it in place. As all Izuku says, "Death of the Twilight." Sorry, as Izuku says, "Death of the Endless Twilight 1000 Cuts." As he fully sheaths his weapon, as immediately thousand of purple energy blades hover in the sky above all the 0 pointers. As immediately they all fly downwards, piercing as the 1000 cuts vaporize these robots. He says, "Twilight explosion." as immediately all the blades that pierced the robots that were left imploded purple energy, as destroying the zero pointers even more. As there was a lot of collateral damage outside of the robot, so several of the buildings were destroyed by the explosion. As everyone in that was observing the battle, the test, they're all speechless. They're like, what the hell is that? How is that a Quirk? As everyone's thinking he just used like, they were confused, like a sword just appeared out of nothing. He has two versions of a thousand cuts. One with his energy swords. That's what he conjures up with pure energy of the void class. This is one of the abilities he got because he's a void class. He's able to produce such an attack. Only reason he used such an advanced technique is those zero pointers were pretty big. So that's the only reason he used that technique for the zero pointers. He won't use such a technique on a normal opponent. It's a little too overpowered. So all the heroes were asking Nezu, what the hell? What is that kid? And what is his quirk? And what's a alpha quirk? As a lot of the heroes are confused. They've never heard of a alpha quirk before. Only All Might knows of it. Only hero outside of All Might and Aizawa know what an alpha quirk is. Because they've been in the States, and any other hero that was in America too, they would know. Nothing you explain to a few of them. It's a variant of the Quirk gene that it differs from the normal quirks that you find here in Japan. In the States, they're more based off weapons. The sword the boy summoned is actually his quirk. Wonder what the boy could actually fully do with his abilities, with his quirk. I can't wait to test the boy, as Nezu's is interested in his quirk in general. As Nezu's like last thing, Nezu said, after all, he's the void class. And the hero's like, what the hell is a void class? I don't know. All I've been told is that it's the most powerful class there is when it comes to their ranking on the quirks up there in the States. Correct, Mr. Nezu. As Inko, walks up. Ah, Miss Inko. It's good you arrive. Of course, I will not miss my son's performance. I'm adequate with his performance so far. But that kid just massacred a test that was supposed to be designed for several students, not just one. Your son just shattered All Might's record. My son shattered the number one hero's record. Us Void class, we have a reputation to behold. We have a lot more responsibilities than the lower class. We have to make a good example. Mr. Nezu, I'll see you at work. I'm gonna take my leave. After all, I have to celebrate with my son. She decided, to meet up with Izuku before he left. As they go off and, go out to eat. Something special. And she's quite proud of Izuku's performance. As she acted like it was adequate, but she's quite happy that how well Izuku did. Make a short story, make a long story short. Izuku just massacred that test. Yeah, so he's going to get, way above 100 points in this battle portion. He's not going to even get the letter. There's no point. He's already been accepted into UA. The reason he took the test in the first place because Nezu wanted to see what he was capable of. As he was quite impressed with it, so he's going to be looking forward to his performance in in his academy or his university, because there's a college in this what if. So like all my what ifs. So and for future reference, I'm always going to refer to 13 as a her because it sounds like a chick. So I'm not sure like what the gender is. I think it's technically supposed to be a male, but I'm always going to refer to it as a her. I'm just so used to it. So a majority of Class 1A saw Izuku take that little test. Bakugo, Kirishima, Mina, Jiro. Only ones that didn't see it was Todoroki and Momo because they did their little in well recommendations because I don't know how it works in canon, but I'm making the recommendations before the entrance exams. So they already took their test and did their thing with where they had to do. The entrance exams comes after the recommendations. So that's what I'm trying to say. As Izuku would, wait for the first day of class. As he gets up, gets dressed, gets his uniform on, and leaves with his mother, as because she kind of works there. So that means Inko got hired as the teacher of Class 1B. So she's there to train Class 1B personally. So they're going to be, a more challenge in the sports festival for the Class 1A students. No threat to Izuku, but, we're not going to get into that. But, and right here get this literally, one shot. Pretty much everyone in Class 1A. If he really wanted to. If he was, wanting to kill someone. It would be no contest. His quirks is just it's a lot more dangerous than everyone is in Class 1A because it evolves a blade. And with his special moves he's created, and plus his own fighting style with a sword called the Raven style. It's a custom, his own sword techniques. It's pretty much his own style with a sword. So that's basically what I'm trying to say. I really didn't have to explain that to that way, but I could have said it better. But yeah, you get what I'm trying to get at. Inko is running a little bit late as they go their separate ways. As Izuku goes where Class 1A is, as Inko goes to the Class 1B classroom. As he sees the humongous door that's on Class 1A. As he didn't think nothing of it. As he just opens up and immediately he hears Ida yelling at Kazuki about putting her feet on the desk, how it's disrespectful, how you're disrespecting the prior heroes that sat in those desks, in those same desks. As he's doing the Ida rant like stickler of the classroom. I guess you gotta have one of them, at least. As you have Momo in the back, reading her book. As Shoto's, this being Shoto. As Shoto sees Izuku, as Shoto's like, "Hey Izuku, the seat's over here open, man." As Izuku walks past everyone as Scarlet sees Izuku as kind of blushed as or Odoraka noticed that as she started teasing her. Kazuki, saw Izuku, but she's acting tough. He sits next to Shoto as Shoto's like, well, I heard some news. You did pretty well on that little test thing. I did all right, Shoto. Aren't we the modest one? I saw the footage. You wrecked that thing. Literally, that thing was designed for, bunch of people taking it, not just one. See, you've been holding back. Because of Izuku's, display of power at the exam, yeah, he's going to be kind of well known in Class 1A, or in the school in general. usual, Moneta got replaced by Scarlet because I, like normal, I don't really use Nemeta because I don't like him. So, screw that guy. So, pretty much. So, as, we continue forward. As everyone's, socializing, get to know their classmates. But Katsuki is, talk to Kirishima for a little bit. As they're still going in this, they're going to be friends. Doesn't matter, I change the gender for Bakugo, but Kazuki. They're still going to have, that friendship that's on in canon, so that won't change. As someone gets out of sleeping bag, as everyone's thinking, who is this bum in the classroom? Where's the teacher? As Aizawa introduces himself as a Razorhead, as he's going to be their teacher, their homeroom teacher for Class 1A. As he rants about it. It took you 30 minutes to be quiet. This is unacceptable. This is a hero school, a hero academy, or a university. It's not your daycare. It's not a daycare. We're not going to hold your hands. This is not acceptable. The Rock up brought up, what about orientation? Because as I mentioned, they're going to be doing a Quirk evaluation test. As Aizawa, pretty much tells the whole classroom this is a hero academy. I get to run how I want to run my class. I have a full authority from Nezu himself. I have a full authority to spell all of you if I choose to. So I suggest you get your shit, get in the locker room, and meet me on the battlefield. As Zuki immediately got up and got his gym uniform. As Zoa noticed that as he walks off, as the rest of the people, Shoto's right behind Izuku. Scarlet's right behind, and Momo's right behind Scarlet, as he knows those kids are going to be, not so much trouble. Believes, they're good listeners, so they're going to not have more, they're going to have any issues outside of the other students he has to shape up into proper heroes. As, as Izuku and Shoto are getting dressed, Shoto's like, what is that move you did at the entrance exams? Is that, that's pretty much my trump card. I have two variants of that attack. You saw the most devastating one. You won't be seeing that again. If we're lucky. Shoto and Izuku the first one out. Then the girls follow. The boys took a little bit longer because they were socializing in the locker room. As Aizawa gets everyone attention as he throws the ball at Izuku. Izuku, I want you to demonstrate what's going to happen here. I want you to throw the ball with your Quirk. Understood, Sensei. As Izuku catches the ball, Aizawa tosses at him. As the purple aura surrounds Izuku's arm. As he cocks his hand backwards, as he throws it with all his might. As it shoots up in the sky, as it goes decently far. Izuku is borderline really strong alone, but when he supercharges his muscles the way he just did, it increases his strength. Now that won't be much of an issue for him, but the whole body enchantment, where it increases his strength and speed, that's quite taxing the longer he has it activated. That's his backup in case he has to go hand to hand if his sword is not acceptable for the fight. He has something to fall back on in case his blade breaks. It takes time to repair the blade. Void Stalker gets broken. It takes a couple hours for Easy to be able to conjure it up again. I have to give him some limits, so outside of the cost of stamina for each time he summons his sword. The rest of the tests, progress normally. As everyone's excited, they're going to use their quirks as all, perked up, and it's like, We think this exciting, and if the person who gets the last place gets expelled, as everyone's shocked, as Momo's thinking he's not going to do it. Oh, Aizawa will do it, but everyone's going to try their best because of Izuku's performance. Aizawa, tells Izuku that he's not required to take this. They've already seen enough of his abilities to know that he's earned his place. As the rest of the students are, sigh of relief because if he did this, if he took this, he would break all the records outside of Odoraka with her Infinity, with her Quirk, because it's Odoraka. So it's just that's just how it is in every what if. As always, are you Asashi's boy? As Mizuki's like, yeah, Asashi's my father. Good man. I've met him a couple times in America. He's a fine warrior and a very powerful very powerful and dedicated hero. I'm glad to see his son taken up in his footsteps. Both my parents are, well, my mother's retired, but she's yeah, I know of your mother. Your mother scares the shit out of me. He kind of laughs at that. Speaking of heroes, my mother told me that you pro heroes don't kill your villains. Is that true? His always like, yes, we normally don't kill our villains. We only use that for a last resort. Only a rare few of us had to permanently put down a villain. I hope you're not like your mother. Negative, sensei. While I'm here, I will only use lethal force as a last resort. My blade. I have the ability to make it I control how sharp it is. So I have a non-lethal variant of it. Basically, it has a reverse blade mode on. I'm able to manipulate the blade. I won't go into the technicals into it, Sensei, but worry not. No, none of my fellow students will be killed if I ever come across one-on-one with them. As Aizawa sigh, as he saw, a big wave of relief wash over him, as he's, glad that, he's not totally like his mother. Yeah, Inko, when she was a hero, she rarely left villains alive. But while she's in Japan, she'll follow their rules and their regulations. She's a ex-pro hero. Out there in America, it's a little more lax on the whole killing your villain. As the test ended, as everyone, got a passing grade. As Aizawa tells everyone that no one's being expelled, he just wanted to make sure they did their best. As, Momo did her canon part, thinking, that's what she thought because, I'm smart. I'm stuck up, Momo things. As the person who got first place was Scarlet. Right behind her is Shoto. Well, no, let's say Bakugo passed Shoto, and Shoto got third place. And the rankings go down below, Momo afterwards, and give your pick who you want, down below. It's really not that too important into the story, so I don't have to cover that too much. So you have Izuki, finally went to the area where he gets his dorm room assigned, as he thanks the clerk as the person that signs the rooms. Probably be like the teacher assistant or something around them, like one of the staff. As a lot of the girls see how Scarlet looks at Izuki all the time. As by now they know that she likes him, and they would Sue and Mina would begin to tease because they would be the most likely to do it. Probably Odoraka. But yeah, I really don't see Jailer caring too much about it. She's more of a laid back character. And Momo's too involved in looking at Shoto, so she doesn't, she doesn't care at the moment. Izuku, would unpack and get his room situated as he, would sleep for the night. Nothing really would happen. Does, him sleeping. Izuku, would wake up and continue his weekly activities at UA. A couple of normal classes, hero classes. He would talk to Scarlet a lot more as the weeks has passed. As you have Izuku, in classroom, that's waiting for Aizawa to, pop his little head in. As the class knows, Aizawa's a lot more nicer to Izuku than he is to the rest of the class. As they, brought that up, as Mina's like, what exactly is your quirk? As Izuku's like, Alpha Quirk, Void class. As okay, what is it exactly? Alpha Quirk users, in general, they're able to summon a weapon. It always revolves around a blade. And we could do other things. It differs between person to person. Void class is the top of the totem pole, the elite. Izuku goes through the class system that he had to live, how US works. He's not going to go much into detail into his abilities, but he gave him a rough estimate of to keep her quiet. I'm going to stop it here. The next part, I'll go into the hero versus villains and hopefully cover the USJ arc afterwards. So I hope you guys have a good night and day. Just my time stones, and I'll catch you in the next video.